Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In today's video, we're going to be doing our NFL games recap. Every single week, I do this recap of I kind of just go over every single game that kind of happened throughout the NFL week. Basically, about 30 seconds to a minute, just kind of recapping the game, kind of what went on, what happened, anything big that went down. We don't have that many games to review this week because we did have some bye weeks for a couple of teams. As the weeks kind of go on, there's going to be a lot more bye weeks happening. Not going to be as many games throughout the weeks, but we'll kind of go through it. If you're going to enjoy today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like. And if you're a fan of any of these teams, go ahead and comment down below what you kind of thought about how your team did this week. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go ahead and start off with Thursday Night Football. We had the Bears and the Commanders. This one, we kind of thought the Commanders were going to win going into this game because we thought, okay, Commanders have a good defense. Their offense is kind of clicking now. Bears, they were supposed to be the worst team in the NFL. Justin Fields showed up. Put it this way, if you had Justin Fields and DJ Moore on your fantasy team that week or this week, you won. Sam Howell didn't have the best game of his time here in Washington. He had an okay game, but like the defense, they sold. Washington's supposed to have like this top 10 defense. They look no more than top 25. When it comes to Chicago, there's this part of me that says Justin Fields can be the guy, but he needs to stay consistent. Chicago, we already know, has a bad defense. If Justin Fields can at least go out there and just keep playing well and look like he's carrying this offense, he could save his job, or at least maybe next season have a chance to get with a team that needs a quarterback, and he can go into another team, maybe like in Atlanta or maybe Minnesota might be looking for another quarterback. Go somewhere and at least have a shot to be a franchise quarterback somewhere else. And then when it comes to Washington, Ron Rivera, I'm hearing reports saying that people want him fired, or maybe after the season he just goes up in the front office. If I was Ron Rivera, I'd be hoping to God I can make it through the season so I can get to the front office. Because overall, I think Washington's plan is after the season, Ron Rivera can step up into the front office and Eric Bieniemy, he'll take over the head coaching job. But 5 weeks in, Ron, you're biting your time, man. Next up, we got the Bengals and the Cardinals. I'm saying Bengals fans and like the players in general, they are chirping. I mean chirping after this game. Don't get me wrong, the Cardinals played a good game, but the Cardinals are the Cardinals. Cardinals are not a good team. They're going to compete and they're going to take everybody to their limits, but they just cannot finish games. And I just find it funny that the Bengals have been playing god-awful on offense, and then now they play a terrible defense. And as always, teams are going to do against a terrible defense. Burrow, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase went fucking off. Like, it's going to happen. Don't get me wrong. They played a good game. You can't take those stats away from Jamar Chase, 3 touchdowns. Like I said with DJ Moore and Justin Fields over there, if you had DJ Moore and Jamar Chase on your fantasy team with Justin Fields, I don't care what your other players did, you won. So looking at the future Bengals, I mean, good win, but I want to see you do this against some good competition. And then when it comes to the Cardinals, I mean, they don't really have much talent here. There's not much they can do. Like, they're playing with the talent they have. Josh Dobbs, the quarterback, he's never been a starter before, and he's finally getting an opportunity to be a starter. And I'm going to be honest, he's playing pretty good. But they're at the fourth quarter. He threw a couple interceptions. I think he fumbled the ball. I mean, they're doing what they're probably going to do. They're going to collapse in the end. All of them are not starters. They're all pretty much perennial backups that are trying now to be starters, and they're not doing a good job. Next up, we got the Jaguars and the Bills. This was actually a pretty decent game over in London. If you did not wake up to watch this game, you probably would have missed a lot of it if you woke up for like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Jaguars beat the Bills in a surprising fashion. Josh Allen the past few games has been on a roll, beating up on people. I mean, I think the stat line was his first game against the Jets, 3 interceptions. Since then, no interceptions, and he was basically putting up, I think, like 30 points a game. This game, when you look at his stats, if you take away that interception, he still had a pretty damn good game. Their defense, they just sold. Calvin Ridley it seemed like he wasn't really doing anything on first and second down. It was third down where he was always open. And it didn't matter what the route was. A whip, a slant, a corner, a post, an in, a deep corner cut, whatever you want to call it. He was open. Trevor Lawrence played a good game. Pretty much, Jaguars defense, they played an okay game. Going forward, I think Jacksonville is right back into that hunt of trying to win their division. Buffalo, I still think, is in pretty good control of their division. The fact that they were able to beat the Dolphins already. Dolphins are currently 4-1 now. Bills are 3-2, so now the Bills are that game behind. I think they can still overtake the Dolphins. They already beat the Dolphins up there in Buffalo. They will have to play Miami again, but it'll be later on in the year, I believe, down in Miami, when it's probably going to be a little bit cooler by then. Hopefully not in the hundreds. Hopefully down like the 70s and 80s. But I think going forward, they'll be fine. They got Von Miller coming back. I believe he just came off of IR. He should be good to go here in about a week or two. The one thing that does kind of crush their spirits is their middle linebacker, Matt Milano. He's done for the year. I forget if it was an Achilles, ACL. I didn't really see what it was. It was a knee injury, I believe. But he's done for the year. But going forward, I think both these teams, they're still in good shape, I think. Next up, we got the Texans and the Falcons. Not really much to say here. It was a good game. Interesting. CJ Stroud, he's him. And Desmond Ridder, they're both him. Both good quarterbacks. They led some good drives. It was kind of a slow-paced, field goal, running type game throughout the most of the game. But then at the end, CJ Stroud led his team down the field, got the touchdown with about like a minute 30 to go. And I'm going to be honest, in that moment, I thought, holy shit, this team could go 3-2, and everybody saw at the beginning of the season they were going to be 0-5 at this point. But to surprise us all, Desmond Ridder went out there and he led a drive. I thought they were going to get stopped. They was like 2nd and 10 with like 40 seconds to go. But Desmond Ridder put a strike. I forget who it was. I think it was Drake London. About like for like a 20-yard pass. Got him down to about like the 30, 25-yard line. And from there, it was pretty much a wrap. Young Wei Koo came in, kicked the sucker straight down the middle. Game over. Going forward, I think the Texans, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. They have a good shot right now, seeing how the division, they are 2-3, the Titans are 2-3, and the Jaguars and Colts are only 3-2, so they still have a shot. But so far, with the way the season's going, I think CJ Stroud, he's probably the front runner for Rookie of the Year. And then when we look at the Falcons, it just comes down to that quarterback, man. If Desmond Ridder can stay consistent with what he's doing, they can go at least to the playoffs. But the second Desmond Ridder starts making his kind of dumb mistakes that he sometimes makes, that's where the team starts to question and say, do we need to go after somebody else? Yeah, the Panthers and the Lions, I'm not really going to say much here other than the Lions are a legit fucking contender. Super Bowl contender? I don't know. Super Bowl possibly contender? We could teeter on that line. The offense looks great. The defense looks good. Jared Goff is playing out of his mind. The run game is there. Play action, everything works well with this offense. Jared Goff, I think everybody thought when he was sent here to Detroit, he was sent here to die. Well, if he was supposed to die, he ain't dying yet. Lions look like they are ready to go for the playoffs. They just got to keep on winning. Moving on to the Panthers side of the ball, I mean, they're 0-5. They're probably getting ready for the number 1 pick, even though they're not going to get the pick. The Bears are going to get the pick. Bryce Young, he's showing his rookie mistakes. He's making the dumb errors. The pass game is good. Adam Thielen, he was a good addition to the Panthers. Their defense, I think, is still pretty much trash. And they don't really have a run game, so that kind of hurts Bryce Young because usually with a young quarterback, you got to have some sort of run game to kind of give them some help. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think anybody really thought the Panthers were going to go anywhere this year. Seeing with the fact that they traded up for the number 1 overall pick, and with you having that pick, yeah, you're not really destined to go anywhere the first year. People saying the Panthers are going to go 0-17, that's not going to happen. They'll get a win or 2, maybe 3 here in the next couple weeks. It just depends on who they play. Next up, we got the Titans and the Colts. This was actually a pretty good game. Anthony Richardson went down, I think, a joint sprain in his shoulder. He has been confirmed to be out for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, I think is what they said he's going to be. So that kind of sucks. Gardner Minshew came in, led the team down the field a couple times, got some scores. They were able to get some wins with Gardner Minshew here the past few weeks against the Ravens and now against the Titans. So Gardner Minshew has been showing, as long as he just does what the coaches ask him to do, they can find ways to get wins. My only question with the Colts is, Jonathan Taylor came back. He signed that contract, $14 million a year. Congratulations, Jonathan. But then they choose to not even play him that much? Like, look down here. Zach Moss, 23 carries, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. Why isn't Jonathan Taylor getting those carries? I realize it's his first time back, and some people are going to say, well, he's got to learn system. Learn what system? Where was he at all offseason? Now, moving over to the Titans side of things, the Titans, they look good. There was a lot of missed opportunities out there. When I say missed opportunities, look at the score, 16-23. There was a point in that game where they had a kind of like a tricky play, toss to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry kind of went out, and he threw it to the back of the end zone to DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins didn't catch it. I think Henry put the ball out like a yard too far. They had to settle down for 3 points. 3 points. Let's take those 3 points away. Go back to 13. Let's make that 6 points plus the extra point. That makes that 7 points. 20-23. The Titans had the chance to get down there in the field goal range, and they were pretty close. If they weren't worrying about a touchdown at the end of the game, they could have at least gotten to the field goal range and gotten an easy field goal. It seems like with Tennessee, they want to be a running football team, but Derrick Henry just cannot get going. I feel like they try to get him going in the beginning of the games, and it's like the second they can't get him going, they shut down. They move over to Tannehill. They say, Tannehill, we need you to save us. Tannehill ain't saving you. Going forward, I think the Colts are in a good position, like I said, with the Jaguars. They're competing. They're playing good football. The Titans, I said it before the season started, they're going to be an average team at best. They're going to be a bad team this year. Moving on to the Giants and the Dolphins, this game kind of made me giggle a little bit. And the reason why I said giggle is because I knew the Dolphins were going to win this game going in. I think a lot of Giants fans knew they were going to lose this game going in. But then you look down here at the scoring summary, When they had that 102-yard interception return, I saw that Giants player that picked the ball up. He scored the touchdown, and everybody on the Giants sideline, they were getting pumped. They were getting excited. The Giants fans in the stands down there in Miami, they were ecstatic. And I get it. You're excited. Your team just scored. Good job. But they looked like they were like, they had the mindset of like, oh my god, we're going to fucking kill the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins said, the fuck you think you're playing? They went out there and scored the field goal immediately, got the ball back in the beginning of the half, scored an easy touchdown to Tyreek Hill. And then from there, it was like just zoom, zoom, zoom with Tyreek Hill, the A-Chain, and Jalen Waddle. Going forward, something to kind of point out, Miami Dolphins, A-Chain, their running back, I don't know if it's out for the season, but he's going to be out for a few weeks. I forget what the injury is. He is now going to be out for a while. And then I believe there was somebody else for the Giants. 2 players got injured. They were trying to do the Philadelphia brotherly shove play. 2 players got injured on that. That's funny. Not funny for them getting hurt. Just funny the fact that everybody wants to outlaw this play, but yet there's teams trying to do this play. Like, how does that make sense? Going forward, anything I would say to change, Tua, quit with those interceptions. You got to quit it. And then for the Giants, I mean, we knew their offense is trash. I hear Saquon Barkley might be coming back within a week or 2. When he comes back, we'll see how the offense looks. If he comes back and this offense is electric, that automatically shows that Daniel Jones was not to be paid, and Saquon Barkley was. This game, I'm not really going to get too much into it. Saints, Patriots, 34-0. Bill Belichick needs to go. Bill Belichick needs to go. And I say that in the kindest ways. The man has done everything he can. He won 6 Super Bowls. He's played everything he needs. He's done everything he needed to do in the NFL. But we are literally watching the downfall of Bill Belichick. Mac Jones is not it at quarterback. The defense is not playing like they used to. I mean, I'll give some good credit to the Saints. They played good. The offense was humming. Run game was there. Pass game was there. They were doing everything they needed to do. I thought the Saints defense, they played good. They got a couple interceptions. Tackling was great. But when it comes to the Patriots, I saw one person, analyst, talk about this. It seems like Belichick is still stuck in his ways of how he coached back in the early 2000s, the early 2010s, of this. I want to punch you in the mouth. I want to run the ball, slow the game down, which people still try to do at that these days. But they do that in a way of where they can still throw the ball when they need to. Belichick is just not adapting to this generation of football. This generation of football, people want to throw the ball all over the field. They want to run fast. They want to do all these things. Bill doesn't do that kind of stuff. So going forward, I think the Saints, they're in a good position to win their division, possibly. They had some injuries early in the year, so people kind of wrote them off right away. Buccaneers are currently, I think, 3-1. They had a bye week this week. They'll be coming back. We'll see kind of how that battle goes between the Saints and the Buccaneers. And the Patriots, I mean, they're on the road to possibly max 6-7 wins. If I were them, I'd just start tanking. I would just start tanking. Next up, we got the Ravens and Steelers. I was fucking pissed at this game. The Ravens, they started off hot. They were playing good. And then they just fucking shut down. Fumble after interception, after block punt, after everything going wrong. When Lamar Jackson would put up some good-ass throws to guys downfield, drop, drop, drop. And it didn't matter if it was Bateman or Zay Flowers. I think Odell dropped a ball. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And it pisses me off because I watched Lamar just tear apart Cleveland's defense 28-3. And then they go out here and it's like everybody just forgets how to drop the football or how to catch the football. I mean, let me give credit where it's due. Steelers defense and special teams, phenomenal. Steelers offense, you had one play all game. Kenny Pickett to George Pickens. That was it. And the funny part with it, your offensive coordinator, I don't even think called that play. I'm not even kidding. If you saw that play or saw the clip of Matt Canada, when they scored that touchdown, he was like watching it, and then it's like they scored. He just stood there. Everybody else around him, they're cheering. He's just standing there looking. I think one of the assistants beside him had to like tap him on the shoulder to like make him be like, "Hey man, you're on TV. You gotta like look excited." And it's like he notices and he's like, It's like, what the hell are you doing, man? Going forward, I think the Ravens are fine. They just need to erase that game from their memories. Steelers, this team, I'm not even gonna lie. If they had an offensive coordinator like anything better than Canada, this team could be elite. But their offense is holding them back. Next up, we got the Eagles and the Rams. This was a good game. I hear the Rams didn't even have many fans in the stadiums, and the Eagles were basically flooding the gates with all their fans. I think it goes for the Rams and the Chargers. What the hell? Does LA not have fans? Getting back to the game, Eagles played a good game, ran the ball, throwing the ball. AJ Brown went off. The Rams had a good game. Matthew Stafford threw the ball pretty well. They couldn't really run the ball at an elite level. They ran the ball okay. Cooper Kupp came back. He scored. He was able to get kind of involved earlier on the game. That whole first half, he was like getting the ball fed to him like crazy. The first half, it was an electric game. In the second half, it felt like everything kind of slowed down. Defenses were playing well. Nobody scored touchdowns. The Eagles did score 2 field goals. The one thing I want to take out of this game is, like I said back with the Giants, the tush push, the brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it, the play that the Eagles run. Why are people trying to ban this play? I get it if it's like it was one of these plays that is like so hard to stop and like it's almost impossible to stop, but we've seen it stopped before. Like we've seen people stop the Eagles from getting a yard with this play. We've seen other teams try it and be stopped. Until this play becomes automatic and like you cannot stop it no matter what you do, then we can talk. Until then, shh. But going forward, I think the Eagles, like I said, they're 5-0. Great season so far. I think they got a shot, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's week 12 or 13, they play the 49ers. I seriously can see the Eagles and the 49ers both making it there, both undefeated. And then when it comes to the Rams, I mean, you're 2-3. They're having an okay year. I think they have a good shot to be at least like 8-9, 9-8. They're going to have an average year. Next up, we get the Jets and the Broncos. This was a good game. Zach Wilson didn't fuck it up, surprisingly. And it was mainly because they ran the ball like hell through Breece Hall. The throws Zach Wilson was making, he wasn't really asked to do too much. He did throw the interception. Could have cost him the game. But ultimately, in the last seconds of the game, Russell Wilson had the fumble. And let me know if you thought the same way. I thought when Russell Wilson fumbled the ball and the Jets defender picked up the ball, why didn't he just go down? I mean, I get it. You pick the ball up. You want to go score. But in that moment, it's like, just go down. The Jets have one timeout with like a minute 10 left. You take the knee, they call timeout, you take the knee again, 20 seconds, take the knee again, game over. I don't know if that's just me thinking, or if it could be because I'm a Browns fan. I've seen things go terribly wrong when you score and give the other team a shot with the ball. But I digress. Broncos, I mean, you're playing okay on offense. The defense is still trash. Until the defense gets fixed, you're not going anywhere. They have these high hopes that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and save their season. If he comes back, it might be like week 16, 17 before he comes back. And how healed is that Achilles going to be? Because that Achilles is not going to be fully healed. I'm going to say this. The Jets right now, I think they play the Eagles next week. They're probably going to lose that game. So, I mean, where do the Jets go? Do they just hope to God that Aaron Rodgers comes back? Or do they tighten up and realize that Zach Wilson needs to be the guy to lead them the season? And they probably have maybe the slightest shot to make playoffs. But even then, they're probably looking at next season already. And then looking at the Broncos, I mean, you're looking at next season and the season after that already, because this season's done. And unless you fix the defense next season, kiss that one goodbye. We got the Chiefs and the Vikings. This one was a good game until the very end. Vikings had the ball with like 4th and 7. It was 27-20. Vikings had the ball. They were able to try to go down and try and get a touchdown. I think it was like 6 minutes to go, and they had to delay a game. Okay, fine, screw it, delay a game. Kirk Cousins steps back. He's about to throw it. He's about to get hit. He throws the ball, and the defender is like draped all up on him. No flag. Well, actually, first there was a flag. It was supposed to be pass interference. Then the corner takes his helmet off. That's a no-no. You don't take your helmet off when on the field. When you're off the field, you can take it off. But when you're on the field, you don't purposely take your helmet off. So that should have been a flag. But what happened? They show an angle of the ref literally talking to the player saying, put your helmet on, put your helmet on. And then they show another angle of Patrick Mahomes going like, almost implying that the ball was tipped. I watched the replay. That ball wasn't tipped. I'm thinking to myself, not tipped, and the helmet is being taken off. Right there's 2 flags. What happens? The ref says, there was no flag on pass interference. What? So you're not going to throw the pass interference call, and you're not going to throw a flag for the guy having his helmet off? At that moment, I said, screw this game's over. Because, I mean, Chiefs got the ball back, and they were able to just kind of melt the clock away. But I'm starting to get pissed off of these refs where, like, they make up their own rules as they go. Going forward, I mean, the Chiefs, they're good. They're a great team. They'll be fine the rest of the season. The Vikings, I'm hearing rumors that they might be shopping this at the trade deadline. Kirk Cousins, maybe Justin Jefferson. Jefferson might be for their offseason. But Kirk Cousins, I mean, if they're having a bad year and they get to the trade deadline and they maybe have max 2 wins, I would shop him. I mean, hey, if you can get a top 5 pick and you looking at these quarterbacks in the draft class and you're like, I like this guy better than Kirk, take a chance. We got 2 more games here. We got the Sunday Night Football matchup, Cowboys and 49ers. Oh, I love this game. This was beautiful. Cowboys coming into the game, thought they were going to be the ones spanking the 49ers after these last 2 years of being eliminated in the playoffs. What happened? 49ers spanked them. There was so much drama, so much build up to the game. The game happened. 49ers beat the shit out of them. And what happened? The 49ers, they thought they were coming in there for a beatdown, and it was personal, and we were going to be going knuckles to knuckles. We were going to be fighting. George Kittle came out there with a t-shirt that said, fuck Dallas Cowboys. Brock Purdy had a good game. Kittle had 3 touchdowns for only 3 catches. And then afterward, Micah Parsons on his podcast had a little comment saying, like, this wasn't personal before, but now that you guys are all talking all this shit, now it's personal. Buddy, back on the field when the Niners were throwing your boys all over the field, beating y'all up, making all the quotes, you didn't say anything there. But now it's personal. Now that you're back at your home where you can just sit and talk. How about whenever you were eliminated twice in the playoffs? It wasn't personal then. Now it's personal. I swear, Cowboys and Cowboys fans, they are just a different breed. Going forward, I think the Cowboys, will they make the playoffs? I think they will. Are they going any further than that? No. Going for the 49ers, though, like I said, they have a shot to go undefeated. Am I going to pick them to go undefeated? I don't know. Last up, I got the Packers and the Raiders. This was a good game overall for the most part. I mean, it was entertaining. It had some fun, some highs, some lows. If you were coming to this game to look for a quarterback battle, turn the other way. If you were coming to this game to look for defense and running the ball, good game to watch. Jordan Love coming to this game, everybody said this was going to be the game where Jordan Love was going to show up and put his name out there and make people respect him finally. Yeah, I'm sorry, we kind of lost the respect. 3 picks. I mean, you had an average game when it comes to throwing the ball. No touchdowns. They ran the ball well. They had the opportunity at the end of the game to try and win the game. They had a game-winning drive opportunity. They got to about like the 40-yard line, and he just chucked one up, threw a pick, ended the game right there. But I've seen some people saying that if he would have gotten a touchdown that last drive, the 2 picks beforehand, we might have just forgotten about him because we would have been looking at that drive and saying, like, that was a great drive, and we possibly could have just forgotten the interceptions from before. Now, looking at the Raiders, Raiders played a good game. Defense stepped up in this game in a big way. The offense, not so much. They were still average. Jimmy G had a very, very uncharacteristic interception by himself because on the route, it seemed like he should have thrown the ball way earlier than he did, and he, like, waited a while to throw it. Obviously, the corner jumped the route, but a win is a win. Now, looking at the Packers and where do they go from here? I think the Packers are in a rough spot because Lions are obviously 4-1. They're 2-3. And I think the Bears and the Vikings are both 1-4. So the Packers, they're like in this middle patch spot, which I think a lot of people knew coming into the season they were going to be like 7-10, maybe 8-9 at best. This year wasn't really going to be a year they were going to be expecting to go to the playoffs, competing for anything. They were just trying to see kind of where they are with this quarterback. But I think as long as they can try to like just keep getting better and get Jordan progressing to be a better quarterback as the season goes on, that's all that matters. And then with the Raiders, if Jimmy G can play better quarterback, it'd be a big help because the run game's there. I think the defense is there. If Jimmy G can just play better play better quarterback, get the ball in the receiver's hands, let them do the work, they'd be a pretty damn good team. But other than that, that's all I got to discuss for today's video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy today's game or today's week 5 game recap. If you were a fan of any of the teams here on I reviewed any of these games and you want to drop your opinion on kind of how they did down in the comment section down below, feel free to do so. If you're a fan of any of these teams, not the bye week teams, if you're a fan of the teams that played this week and you kind of had a different opinion on kind of how they did compared to what I said, and you want to leave it down in the comment section, feel free to do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. Drop a like if you did enjoy. It'll really much appreciated if you do so. And if you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you stay to the end of the video and you want to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And don't forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Don't Talk Sports. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.